Let me guess, you clicked on this video because you have an Instagram account which you think is dying, or at the very least, you don't think it's helping you reach your goals. So you've often wondered to yourself, should I just start a new Instagram account, or should I dedicate my time and effort to reviving this existing Instagram account? What I want you to do is watch this entire video the whole way through before you make your decision, because in today's video, I'm going to give you the exact plan for you to follow to revive a dead or dying Instagram account. Let's get to it. All right, so step number one, the first thing you need to do is identify the cause of death. This is so dramatic, but it's also very me. There will be a cause of death for your Instagram account. There will be a reason why it's not helping you reach your goals, or it's not receiving much engagement, or maybe it's not growing, or maybe you're losing followers. There will be a reason why your Instagram is not performing at the level that you want it to perform. So in order for us to change that and turn things around, we need to know what the cause of death is. I'm going to run you through some of the most common cause of deaths. Oh my God, the more I say this, the more morbid this seems. Let's call it COD. I'm going to run you through the most common CODs for Instagram accounts, so you can think about which one of these CODs could be the COD of your Instagram account. I'm just talking in code now. So the most common reason why Instagram accounts start to fail or they start to not perform like you want them to is due to inactivity. So basically, you not being active in any way, shape or form on your Instagram account for an extended period of time. A common misconception is that your Instagram will start to die if you are inactive for like a few weeks. People say, oh my God, I fell ill, so I wasn't able to post, or I'm moving house, or I'm having a baby. You know, life happens. Things are happening. You're not able to post like you normally do. You're not being consistent. And then you immediately tell yourself, okay, my Instagram account is going to die. That's it. I've ruined all the hard work that I put in to get me here. And if that is you going through that mental spiral right now, hold on a minute. Please do not spiral any further, because usually having a week or a few weeks off from your Instagram account isn't going to cause your Instagram account to absolutely nosedive. It might mean that when you come back from your break, it might take a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months to get it back to the engagement that you was getting before, or the growth you were getting before. But it doesn't mean that it is necessarily dying. What I'm referring to here is when you're inactive on an Instagram account for at least 3 months. I used to have an account that had like 10,000 followers on it. I've always think back to it because it was 10,000 followers in like 2016. So that was a lot, right? And think of where that account could have been now. But I stopped posting on it because it was promoting a business that I was no longer running. I stopped posting on it for like 6 months to a year. I tried to start posting on it again, and it was just such an uphill battle. And that is an example of when I feel like an account had died or was on its way out. Another reason is that you've broken some Instagram guidelines. Now, the good news here is that Instagram's made it super easy for you to tell if you've broken one of their guidelines. All you have to do is go and check on your account status, and it will tell you like if you're in the doghouse or not, right? If it tells you that you are fine, then we can assume that we can move on to one of the other CODs, cause of deaths, in case you've forgotten. However, if there is a mark or some form of warning sign under your account, it does mean that you have broken a guideline. The good news is that all you have to do is not break another guideline, and hopefully your account status should reset. I cannot tell you how long this is going to take because Instagram doesn't tell us, and without knowing at Instagram, that's just not information that I have, but it can and it should go away. Now, the other side of this is if you've broken a guideline, but Instagram hasn't caught up and realized it yet. For example, if you've purchased bots, or you're part of like engagement groups or like follow trains, all that kind of stuff that is like inauthentic engagement or growth that is actually against Instagram's guidelines, but they just haven't noticed that you've done that yet. Now, even though Instagram doesn't know that you've been a little bit naughty and you've broken some of the rules, you still might be punished for it in some way. If you have a lot of fake activity in terms of followers and engagement on your account, the second you stop paying for that, or the second the bots stop working how they're supposed to, you're going to notice that your account doesn't look very healthy anymore. You're not getting much engagement on your content and you're not growing, right? So that could be another reason. Another really common reason why your Instagram might be struggling is because you've switched niches or you've switched your target audience. Now, target audience is just a marketing phrase, which is referring to a group of people who you are trying to speak to with your content. So they're people who you're targeting, target audience, right? So if you've switched your niche, so maybe you used to talk about finance and now you talk about fashion, or if you've changed your audience groups, maybe you used to speak to millennial mums and now you speak to like Gen X baby boomers with like empty nests, right? So they don't have their kids at home anymore. So it's a completely different audience. If you have done that, there is a chance that Instagram is not pushing your content out to people. Therefore, you're not getting much reach and you're not getting much engagement purely because Instagram doesn't know who your audience are anymore, right? Because how Instagram works is it looks at your content and it tries to figure out who would like your content. And when it gets good at figuring out who would like your content, it shares your content to those people. That's how you get on explore pages. That's how your posts get recommended to others. It's when Instagram knows who would like your content. If Instagram doesn't know who your content's for or who will like it, it might not push it out to many people. Or maybe it will push it out to the wrong audience, which means you won't get much engagement anyway. Last, but certainly not least, and this is one of the most common conclusions that I come to is that your Instagram account isn't actually dying, and instead your expectations might just be super, super high. Just a moment for some real talk, because this is really common. People say to me, Jade, my Instagram's account is dying. Like people who are my clients and stuff, I'll run reports and I'll be like, it doesn't look like it's dying. It's not overachieving, but it doesn't look like it's dying, right? And the reason why we fall into this trap, because I fall into this trap sometimes as well, like we're all human, right? Is because of a few different things. Maybe it's comparison. Maybe you're looking at other people within your niche and you're thinking, well, they're growing faster than I am. They have more engagement than I am. My account must be dying. When actually your account is doing totally fine, and maybe their account is just performing exceptionally well. Or maybe they're purchasing followers and engagement, so you don't actually know how well their account is performing anyway. This also happens when you're comparing the performance of your account to how it used to perform, especially for people who've had their account for a while. Let me tell you right now, the overall engagement on Instagram for every single person has been on a decline for years, right? So expecting the same engagement that you used to get 5-6 years ago is going to lead to you thinking your account is dying, and it's not. It's just that engagement is lower now than it used to be 5-10 years ago. There's more people on the platform. It's harder to stand out. So genuinely, your engagement is going to be a bit lower. Okay, so we've hopefully diagnosed the issue, right? The next step is to figure out how to fix it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a relaunch plan for your Instagram account. And this plan will work to combat any of the CODs, cause of deaths. What is the point of me using the abbreviation if I keep on saying the full phrase anyway? But this plan is going to work regardless of the issues that you're facing with your Instagram account. It's going to work for every single one of those issues that we spoke through, okay? So first things first, I want you to stick to this plan for at least 1 month, ideally 3 months. I'm giving you a bracket because I know if I just told you all you have to do 3 months, half of you would click off this video right now because you'd be like, absolutely not. So I'm going to let you choose between 1 to 3 months. You will get better results, or at least more conclusive results, if you stick with this plan for 3 months though. So it's up to you. There's a few steps that I'm going to want you to follow. The first one is unconventional. I'm going to want you to leave the application that you are on, and I want you to go to TikTok. Now, I'm not saying that I want you to give up on Instagram and start posting only on TikTok. What I am saying is that I want you to open up the TikTok app, create an account if you haven't already, even if it's just for this task, and I want you to start doing some research. Now, users on TikTok are a lot more vocal than they are on any other platform. So find a creator who has a similar audience to you and head straight to the comments under their content. We are not looking at their content. We're not trying to copy their content. That's not what we're doing. We're doing some audience research. So if we look at some of the comments under their content, we'll start to get a really good idea of what our audience are looking for at the moment. Because one of the key things that we have to do as part of this relaunch plan is create content that our audience wants. That's very, very important. And this is a really great hack for actually figuring out what they want. You'll end up seeing quite a few different comments that will give you some insights. For example, you might notice that a lot of people are requesting one specific type of outfit review, like wedding outfits. Maybe you're in a finance niche and actually a lot of people are asking questions about a brand new finance product that's come on the market. Keep a lookout for any comments which give you some idea of what your audience are struggling with or what your audience are looking for in terms of content on social media. The next step is to make note of all of your findings. Open up your notes app and write down all of your findings. And I want you to start to think about those findings in the form of content ideas. So if you take the example that I just used, maybe you notice that your audience are asking for wedding outfit reviews. I want you to write down at least one content idea based on that piece of research that you've just obtained, right? So write down that you're going to do a reel where you're walking from one point to another point and editing the transitions together, and you're going to show 4 looks for the wedding season. Maybe you're going to break it down based on black tie attire or like garden weddings, right? If you're in the fashion niche, I'm giving you some great ideas right now. So I want you to write down actual content ideas so that we can move on to the next step. The next step is to turn these content ideas into actual pieces of content. One thing we've got to talk about here that I know you might be thinking is, Jade, what kind of content? Should I be sharing reels or photos or carousels? And I'm going to give you a quick guide to help you out here, right? So if you are struggling with growth, if that is the main thing that you're struggling with on your Instagram account, you're losing followers, you want to be sharing more reels than photos because your reels will reach more new people, more fresh faces. If you are struggling with engagement, if that is the number one thing that you're struggling with, then you want to be sharing either an equal amount of reels and photos, or maybe even more photos than reels, because your photos are more likely to be shown to your existing audience than your reels are. So that is a very top line guide for you to use, and that will help you figure out which content ideas you're going to run with and whether they're going to be a photo or a video. Now, if you're really keen on carousels, because you notice that I didn't mention carousels, you can have them as part of your content strategy. I don't think you should be sharing the same amount or more carousels than your reels or your photos. Your primary content format should be reels and photos. You now need to batch a lot of content. Shocking, I'm filming a video about Instagram and I've spoken about batching. I will link to a video up here so that you can get more information about batching if you don't know my top tips and tricks already, because it takes a little bit of getting used to. But the concept is that you dedicate a set period of time to creating more than one piece of content in a go. For example, right now I am filming this YouTube video. I'm about to film another one. I'm vlogging for the day. And I've also been capturing about 4 or 5 different TikToks and reels in the background as well, right? I'm having a content day. I'm batching all of my content together so that I'm able to remain consistent and also not spend every waking day of my life just filming myself or filming content, because nobody wants that unless you're like a Kardashian or something. Now that we've got a bunch of content and it's all based on our audience and what they're looking for, so it's probably going to perform well for us, hopefully, right? We now need to make sure that that content is going live every single day. I'm going to let some of you off. If you are really going to struggle with posting every day to your grid, so a reel or a photo, I'm going to allow you to post 5 times a week if you really can't make 7 times a week work. If you can make 7 times a week work, that is really the optimal posting frequency. Now, there are a few different tools you can use which will help you remain this consistent. I use one called Later to schedule all of my content out. I'll link to a video up here where I just dive into that a little bit more. But you can also schedule your content using the Instagram app, or you can set yourself reminders for every time you want your content to go out. But the main thing, regardless of which method you've used, is that your content is ready to go. So you filmed it already, but you've also edited it. And hopefully you've also written some captions as well. That brings me on to the next point that we need to cover when it comes to this new content that you're sharing, is actually the captions. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you need to write really long captions. Those days are gone, right? We're not writing long captions for the sake of it. However, because we are trying to revive your Instagram account, it's important that you do write captions, and your captions are descriptive. So you describe what your content is about. You include keywords, which are basically just words or phrases that are relevant to your content. You include those in your captions just in a way that feels really natural. And the reason why we want to do this is because we're trying to train Instagram to understand what our content is about, because that's going to increase the chances of Instagram pushing our content and sharing it to a broader audience if it understands what our content is about and therefore who would like our content. So use some descriptive keywords in there. An example for my niche is me using the word Instagram and captions and strategy and tactics. Using those kind of words in my captions is going to help Instagram understand what I talk about and therefore who the best group of people are to see my content. So now we're in a stage where you've got your brand new content, it's scheduled to go live every single day, you've got some great captions. The last thing that we want to be doing is responding to every single comment, or at least as many comments as you can get. I'm too lenient with you guys. I keep on giving way outs. Do you know what? Every comment, respond to every single comment that you get for the duration of this relaunch period, okay? I know that can be tough for some people. The reason why I'm suggesting this is because if your account is dying, it basically means that Instagram is not sharing your content to anyone, maybe not even your existing audience. So if someone sees your post and decides to comment, it means the relaunch strategy is working, and we do not want to lose that person as an engaged follower. We want to reward that comment by responding to it and being social. All right, so that's the relaunch strategy. You might be thinking, what's next? How do I know if it's working? What I want you to do is screenshot your account analytics at the same day every single month. So at the start of the month or the end of the month, just take a quick screenshot and save it into a folder, right? You want to review these screenshots when you're done with your relaunch. So if this is after 3 months, look at the screenshots and see if there's been any change. Are you starting to see some growth in some areas? Are you starting to reach more people? Are you starting to get more engagement? If you are seeing any positive results by the end of the relaunch, it means it's working, and I think you should stick with it. If you are not seeing any results and everything is continuing to go down, just a lot of red, right? There's no good results from this whole period, then you are free to take that as a sign that you can move on and try a brand new account. At least you could know that you've tried everything that you possibly could to revive your existing one. Okay, my loves, that is it for today's video. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this one. It's all about my top hacks for remaining consistent on social media. So anyone watching this would find that video super, super valuable. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I cannot wait to see you in my next video.